يا رايحين على مصر مين يبعت سلامي في كلمتين يا أهل الله، مشتاق لناسها الطيبين ودي ياما فيها مخلصين يا ما شاء الله، وفي أزهر العلماء تقدر تقول ما تشاء، ده أنا والله بدعي لهم رب السما وقولوا آمين إن شاء الله إن شاء الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت يا حي يا قيوم تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا سهلا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما، وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We have been reading from the introduction of Minhaj Al-talibin, the book of Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. We will continue where we left off last time, which is قال الإمام النووي رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين، وحيث أقول الأصح أو الصحيح فمن الوجهين أو الأوجه، فإن قوي الخلاف قلت الأصح وإلا فالصحيح. Last time we spoke about or the time before that, I believe, we spoke about the meaning of the words al-wajh and al-awjuh. And we mentioned that the word awjuh or wajh refers to an opinion of one of the ashab al-wujuh, as opposed to the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i. So when Imam al-Nawawi says al-asah, when Imam al-Nawawi says al-asah and al-sahih, that indicates to us that this is an issue, or this is the opinion, before that, that tells us that this is the preponderant position. This is the preponderant position. It also tells us that this is an issue of disagreement. Okay, this is an issue of disagreement. It also tells us that the various opinions on this issue belong to the ashab. The various opinions on this issue belong to the ashab. But the word asah indicates that the contrary opinion is strong, whereas the word sahih indicates that the contrary opinion is weak. And therefore al-asah is similar to al-adhar, whereas al-sahih is similar to al-mashhur. But the difference is that al-asah refers to the opinions of the ashab, whereas al-adhar refers to the opinions of al-shafi'i. Al-sahih refers to the disagreement between the opinions of the ashab. Al-mashhur indicates a disagreement between the opinions of Imam al-Shafi'i. But both al-asah and al-adhar refer to a preponderant position on an issue of disagreement where the contrary opinion is strong. It has a strong basis. Whereas both al-sahih and al-mashhur refer to a preponderant opinion who's on an issue on which there is disagreement and the contrary position is weak. It has a weak basis. So that's al-asah and al-sahih. And then Imam al-Nawawi says, وَحَيْثُ أَقُولُ الْمَذْهَبِ فَمِنَ الطَّرِيقَيْنِ أَوِ الطُّرُقِ. We talked about what at-tariqain means before. We mentioned that if there's an issue, and on that issue, some of the ashab say that opinion of a Shafi'i is X, while other ashab say that opinion of a Shafi'i is X, or let's just say opinion 1 of a Shafi'i is X and opinion 2 of a Shafi'i is Y. Okay, so Ashab Alif are just saying that Imam Shafi'i has one opinion on this issue and that's X. Ashab Ba are saying that Imam Shafi'i has 2 opinions on this issue and yes, X is the preponderant position, Y is a weak position. However, he had 2 opinions on this issue. Ashab Alif are saying no, Imam Shafi'i only had this one opinion on this issue. That's an example of tariqain. Imam al-Nawawi, when he says al-madhab, he's indicating that this is an issue on which there is more than one tariq. So he'll say, for example, يجب كذا على المذهب. Okay, يجب كذا على المذهب. That simply means this. This phrase simply means all of that. When Imam al-Nawawi says يَجِبُ كَذَا عَلَى الْمَذْهَبِ, he's telling us that the preponderant view on this issue is that it is wajib. Okay, it is wajib. But على المذهب, meaning that there are two tariqs on this issue. One tariq is that there's only one opinion of Imam Shafi'i and that says that kada is wajib. But the other opinion is that there are 2 opinions of Imam Shafi'i on this issue. One says that it is wajib, which is the preponderant position, but the other opinion of Imam Shafi'i says that this is not wajib. That's what al-madhab tells us. Moving on to the next one, وحيث أقول النص فهو نص الشافعي رحمه الله ويكون هناك وجه ضعيف أو قول مخرج. So when he says the word nas, what that indicates is that there is an issue on which there is an explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i, and then there is an opinion, a contrary opinion of Ashabul Wujuh. When this explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i is considered to be the preponderant position, and there is a contrary opinion of Ashabul Wujuh, then this is called an-nas. Then this is called an-nas. Okay, وحيث أقول النص فهو نص الشافعي رحمه الله ويكون هناك وجه ضعيف. This is a wajh, and it's ضعيف, it's weak because of the existence of an explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. Can there be times that an opinion of Ashabul Wujuh contravenes an explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i, and yet the preponderant position of the school is the opinion of the Ashab, and the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i is considered weak in the school? Is that possible? Does that happen? The answer is yes, it's possible, it does happen. But it's rare. It would happen if the Ashabul Wujuh considered Imam al-Shafi'i's opinion to be based on a weak text, or based on having no basis for it, and they found a strong hadith, for example, about a particular issue. Then, especially if all of them agree that Imam al-Shafi'i was not aware of a text related to this issue, and therefore his opinion is weak, then the view of the Ashab in that type of a situation becomes the mu'tamad, becomes a preponderant view. So it is possible. However, generally speaking, Imam al-Shafi'i's opinions are preponderant when they're contravened by the opinions of Ashabul Wujuh, because generally speaking, the disagreement lies not in the fact that a Shafi'i didn't have access to a particular prophetic text, but more usually the disagreement lies in the interpretation of Imam al-Shafi'i versus the interpretation of the Ashab of the same text. And in those kinds of cases, generally the interpretation of Imam al-Shafi'i is preferred over the interpretation of the Ashab. Generally speaking, that's preferred. So what becomes the official stance of the madhab, the view of the madhab, is what the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i is on those kinds of issues. And the opinions of the Ashab are respected and are considered to be other opinions within the school of Imam al-Shafi'i, but they do not become preponderant. They do not override the interpretation of the Imam, him being mujtahid mutlaq, mujtahid mustaqil, him having a higher status. All of that dictate that it be treated like that. But having said that, there are cases in which the opposite is the case, where Imam al-Shafi'i's position is considered to be the weaker position, and the position of the Ashab becomes the preponderant view. أو قول مخرج. What is قول مخرج? This requires some explaining. قول مخرج is an opinion of قول مخرج is a derived opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i, derived by the Ashabul Wujuh from an explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i. Qawl Mukharraj is a derived opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i, derived by the Ashab al-Wujuh from an explicit opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i. What does that mean? Let's say there is an issue, we'll call it issue 1, on which there is an explicit opinion of a Shafi'i. We'll call it A. And then let's say there is another issue, completely separate, on which there is an explicit opinion of a Shafi'i, and we'll call that opinion B. And then some of the Ashabul Wujuh come and they see a similarity between issue 1 and issue 2. They see a similarity between issue 1 and issue 2. And yet they feel that despite being a similarity between issue 1 and issue 2, Imam al-Shafi'i's opinion is different about this issue and it's different about this issue. They feel that it should be the same because the issues are similar. So they will say, Ashab al-Wujuh will say, that this issue should have opinion B based on an analogy between these two issues. And similarly, so issue 1 should have opinion B because of a similarity between this issue and this issue. And therefore, this opinion is called Qawl Mukharraj. So this opinion is not the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i regarding this particular issue. It's an opinion of his regarding a separate issue. But they have made an analogy between that issue and this issue, and therefore they have tried to argue that this should be his opinion about this issue as well. Okay? Let's give an example to make it clearer. Let's give an example to make it clearer. This is a real example. Imam al-Shafi'i says that when somebody offers a prayer, prays a salah towards a particular direction, believing that the qibla is in that direction, and after he finishes the prayer, he becomes convinced that the qibla is actually in a different direction. The qibla is actually in a different direction. Does he need to repeat his prayer or not? Imam al-Shafi'i argues that he does not need to repeat his prayer. Okay? As long as he has not reached certainty that the first direction of the prayer was mistaken. He's convinced based on ijtihad, he has a dhann, he has ghalabatul dhann that the direction is this way. First he had ghalabatul dhann that the direction is this way, now he has ghalabatul dhann that the direction is this way. This new ghalabatul dhann does not negate the prayer that he prayed based on the old ghalabatul dhann. However, now the next prayer he must pray based on his new ghalabatul dhann, his new ijtihad. Okay, but the previous prayer remains valid and he does not need to repeat it. That's his opinion about prayer. That's one issue. Let's look at a different issue, and then we'll see how the ashab did takhrij here. On a different issue, which is the issue of water, that two water containers that is in front of someone who needs to make wudu. The scenario is that I have to make wudu, and I have only two containers of water in front of me. I have access to no other type of water. And I know for sure that one of these two containers of water is mixed with filth, is mixed with najasa. So I have to use my ijtihad. I have to use my ijtihad to figure out which of the two containers is free of najasa, is free of filth. So let's say that I come to a conclusion, ghalabatul dhann, that container A is free of najasa and B has filth in it. So I perform wudu with A. I perform wudu with A. Now, after I perform wudu with A, I go ahead and pray. I go ahead and pray. But then after I pray, my ijtihad changes. And now I have ghalabatul dhann that in fact this is the container that is free of najasa and this has najasa in it. I have new ijtihad. The question now is, for the next prayer, do I need to make a fresh wudu from this container? Imam al-Shafi'i says no. No. You don't make wudu from this container. You pray with the same wudu that you had performed before. Your change in ijtihad does not make a difference. You ignore that. You had, as long as you had reached this conclusion by ijtihad the first time, you stick to that. You have made wudu with A. As long as your wudu is not broken, even if your ijtihad changes, for the next prayer and the next prayer and the next prayer, you continue to pray with that wudu that you had made from this container, even though now you believe, though not with yaqeen, with ghalabatul dhann, but yet you believe that this container is mixed with najasa. You ignore that and you do not repeat your wudu. Remember, in the first issue he had said that if your ijtihad changes with regards to the qibla, the next prayer you're going to pray based on your new ijtihad. Here he's saying the next prayer you're going to pray according to your old ijtihad. You see the difference? This is an example where on issue 1, which is the issue of qibla, his explicit opinion is that pray according to new ijtihad, or to put it better, new prayer should be prayed according to the new ijtihad. Whereas here he's saying in the issue 2, which is the issue of water, water containers or awani, he's saying that new prayer should be prayed according to old, or better, original ijtihad. Okay? So some of the Ashab al-Wujuh looked at that and they said, well, the two issues are very similar. And therefore, by analogy, they said that here the new prayer should be prayed according to new ijtihad. In other words, the person should have to make wudu again with container B. Why? Because of the analogy between these two cases. What did Imam Shafi'i said? Imam Shafi'i said this and he said this. He did not say this. But this is the opinion of Ashabul Wujuh. And therefore this is called Qawl Mukharraj. It contradicts an explicit opinion of Imam Shafi'i based on an analogy with another explicit opinion of Imam Shafi'i, but that opinion is regarding a different issue. But the Ashabul Wujuh see an analogy between the two, and based on that analogy, they derive this new opinion from that other explicit opinion of Imam Shafi'i, and this new opinion contradicts the explicit opinion of Imam Shafi'i about this issue. That's what's called Qawl Mukharraj. And Qawl Mukharraj, therefore, is contrary to an explicit opinion of Imam Shafi'i. And that's why Imam al-Nawawi is saying here, وَحَيْثُ أَقُولُ النَّص. So this is a nas. This is a nas. فهو نص الشافعي رحمه الله ويكون هناك قول مخرج. That's what he's talking about here. والله تعالى أعلم. So we'll stop here insha'Allah ta'ala and we'll continue from here the next time. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
العلماء لهم فضل ومنزلة ووجههم عند مولى الفضل مقبول. قوم إلى الله قد شدت عزائمهم وحبلهم بحبال الله موصول. قوم على الملة السمحاء قد فطروا وشأنهم مع كتاب الله منقول. أعطاهم الله ما شاءوا وأكرمهم كذاك قال الذي وفاه جبريل. يا ربنا خذ بنا قلبا لساحتهم لنستريح ويحمى القال والقيل. العلماء لهم جاه ومنزلة ووجههم عند مولى الفضل مقبول. الله 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 الله